In comic book mythology, an origin story is an account that reveals how a character gained their powers and the circumstances under which they became a protagonist or antagonist. In nerd culture, every person has an origin story that set them on the path of being a lifelong nerd. These are their stories.
Brittany Nicole Arp III. You have been accused of not being a nerd. What do you have to say for yourself?
I plead the awesome that I am, and I will lay down my attack card, but switch to defense mode. So here we go.
All right. Well, she's already innocent, I guess. But all right. So welcome back to our sub-series, Nerdy Origin Stories, where we go around the team and dive into the details and the backstory and the biography of one of our teammates to figure out what makes them a nerd. Next up is Brittany. So she didn't know we were doing this tonight. So she's being put like on the spot.
Yes.
None of us knew we were doing this.
She has no answers prepared for this. So
I don't.
We also have no questions.
We have no
prepared for this.
questions.
It's weird because I've been interviewing people all day, all weekend, and now I'm the one being interviewed, and I'm just like.
I was like, can we take a moment to just recognize our third detective here? He's a trainee.
No. See, again, this is how you can tell that my undercover work is working, because they think I'm a trainee. I was brought in from off the field. I was not aware that we're going to be conducting an interview today. And my suit is in the cleaner. So
he's like the 80s cop, like the BA 80s cop that just doesn't care, that shows up to the office with his coffee and he's just like, all right, what do we got?
Yeah, just call me Riggs.
Yes.
Okay.
I was thinking more Jake Peralta in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh no.
That's way more your vibe. So back to Brittany.
So Brittany, throughout this episode, we're just going to be asking you questions to verify that you are a nerd.
Okay.
So first up, what are some of the things that you nerd out on?
That's a really broad question, because at some point in my life, I've nerded out about everything.
She's already trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
No, this is truthful. Like, it started off with anime like Toonami, right? My saving grace, like Bebop, Outlaw Star, Tenchi Muyo, all that stuff, Rurouni Kenshin, Yu Hakusho, just all of the old school Gundam.
What time did Toonami begin?
Which one? Midnight Run or After School?
Oh.
Because I can't tell you how many times I can't tell you how many times I woke up like at 3 a.m. to the ending of Inuyasha, just like because it blasts out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I forgot that they did the Midnight Run, and then you said that, and it unlocked an entire like set of sealed memories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That you need to maintain decorum down there, by the way.
Okay, I didn't invest. But so it started out with anime and a little bit of gaming. Like my very first game system was a Sega Genesis, and I had Mortal Kombat and Tasmanian Devil game that I absolutely hated.
Okay.
It was like a really hard game, actually.
Okay.
It was like overpowered. And so that kind of led into my gaming facet, where I discovered like Final Fantasy and more of a hack and slash JRPG style, which I really enjoy. First person shooter, I get really nervous. And then same thing with like games like Left 4 Dead. I get really, really nervous. So I'm just like, and I just kind of like, I lose control of everything. But so that was kind of the beginnings. And then for a while, I competed in Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! And then after that, I got into cosplay and things like that. And I've kind of just flourished. I grew up with sci-fi and all that good stuff. So
okay. So you raised a thought in my brain noggin.
First time for everything.
Yes. So we've already done the nerdy origin stories for Christian and Nick and Jason. And I'm not sure if Jason said it, but I know Christian and Nick both said their earliest video game memories included Mortal Kombat. How old were you when you first played Mortal Kombat? Because I'm assuming it was way too young.
5.
Okay.
5 or
Wow.
6. Well, okay, so I have a sister.
Really explains a lot.
Doesn't it? It makes a lot of sense
It
now.
does.
So I had a sister that was 8 years older than me, so I would play a lot of video games with her. She wasn't very nerdy or anything, but it was kind of like the thing to do where we lived.
Yeah.
Because I mean, internet was well at that. I'm not going to show my whatever. Anyways, we didn't have a we didn't have a lot of like I lived on a farm, so besides for like being out riding 4-wheelers and stuff, if I wanted to stay in, that's what I did. So I was around 5 or 6 whenever I started kind of diving into that. And then when I was about like 8 or 9 is when I was like, this is actually really fun.
I just like how Mortal Kombat was a game that all of us got into as a child. Like
It was
what does that say about society?
it's the perfect button mash game.
Sure.
Mine was Pong.
Well,
Damn.
we
All right. So where were you during your first nerdy memory? Where were you first decided, hey, I might be a nerd?
oh, this is embarrassing. I was at I would go to my grandfather's house every weekend. And that was the only time I got to watch like anime or anything like that. Because growing up, I didn't have like cable or anything or satellite. It was satellite at that point. But
She had to make her own anime.
Yeah.
but I was sitting there and it was whenever Goku was going Super Saiyan for the first time.
Oh,
Ah,
for
yes.
the entire season.
My favorite 6 episodes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was like really into it and really emotional about it. And I didn't understand why at the time. And I was like, I was so excited about it. And so when I went to school and I was talking about it, like I grew up in a very southern town. So like being a nerd, and still so, I live there now. It is not common to be as outlandish and stuff about being a nerd or liking nerd culture. So I remember going and talking to my friends at school about it, and they were like, "You're a nerd." And I was like,
All right.
"No." And I was literally like, "You know what? I am," because I just saw one of the most inspiring things ever, and it was the coolest thing. And being older and looking back on that, like that's when it was like the first time I got a heavy emotion about something nerdy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time.
All right. All right. Going to take a moment. Detectives, any questions?
Go ahead.
Did you get the same experience during any of the other Super Saiyan events? I don't know why I asked it like Kirk, but I did.
Can we hashtag William Shatner?
So there was
Yeah, sure.
there was specifically a movie, if I'm remembering correctly. I have to like go past the cobwebs in my weirdly functioning brain. But it was the movie where he's fighting Broly for the first time.
Got to check your alibi. Hold on.
And
Corey's going to give it a goog.
And I really enjoyed that because it was that same kind of like rush. I also really enjoyed, as far as like Dragon Ball Z, my favorite saga, honestly, is Majin Buu. Majin Vegeta is like one of my favorite characters of all time. Especially because Vegeta grows so much as a character. And there's a lot of growth and a lot of like dynamic shifts in that show. But I really enjoyed that. I wasn't a fan of like Super Saiyan 4.
Man. Man, it's a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different.
It's a little different.
Yeah, but there's also a movie with Frieza's brother that I really enjoyed as well. But I also really enjoy the games like Budokai.
Okay.
Those are really fun.
Spell Budokai.
Oh no. You spell Budokai. I don't know how to spell it. But
I gotta say it.
I really have it's not my comfort anime, but it really holds a special place in my heart because like I said, it kind of like made me kind of stand up for myself more about liking nerd culture things and being more like, well, yeah, I do like it, so whatever.
Well, it was one of the first big ones to hit the US and like really hit the US.
Yes.
I guess hit the US and like find an audience.
Yeah.
A
R.I.P.
sizable.
Rip Akira
audience.
Toriyama.
Yeah, no kidding.
I genuinely cried whenever I read that
was
because
relatively recently.
yes, hard hit.
like
What's next?
since we did our last episode.
Yeah. It really has.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that you were a nerd, or that you identified as a nerd early on, before
Before you were out.
nerding. Well, before nerding, becoming a nerd or a geek was mainstream,
hmm
and now the pop nerd geek culture is definitely mainstream, and certainly you must feel some sort of way about that you were there at the beginning and you had to endure that type of persecution from your classmates, and now it's mainstream and everybody can just be part of it. How does that make you feel, and how does that make you interact with others?
To be completely honest.
Yes, that's what I want here.
Okay, this is gonna be so just
Be vengeful.
this is gonna be a hot take.
I want it lukewarm.
It's gonna be a hot take.
No,
It's gonna be scalding.
fine.
Okay. Um I absolutely love it.
Hmm.
As someone who is made fun of a lot for liking the things I did, especially being a girl, I absolutely love it. My nieces are into nerdy things and stuff, and I support that 110%. They've expressed interest in cosplaying. I've taken one of them to a convention before. I now, do I think that there's some things wrong with the community now because it's grown so vast? Of course I do. But there were always problems beforehand. But I absolutely love that people get to be introduced to all of these different fandoms and all of these different facets and get to go on all of these adventures that I struggled to go with when I was younger. So I think it's the coolest thing ever. I absolutely love it and I wouldn't change it.
Acceptable. Josh, what you got? Or Corey? Either one of you.
Yes, Captain. So, looking back into your life, what are some of the nerdy memories that stand out as a favorite?
Peak nerd.
Ones that have stuck with you.
The very first time I went to a convention in cosplay, I think we've actually talked about this before. I had never felt so cool in my entire life. And I had never felt so validated in like the nerd scene before because growing up in a small town, I didn't know what cosplay was. I didn't know like about conventions. I literally had no idea that they existed. And so whenever I went to college and my friend was like, you need to go with me with one of these and we're going to dress up and it's going to be fun. It literally changed my life. And without it, I would not be sitting here today. I can 1,000% say that. I can 100% say that without a doubt. I would not be here if it weren't for me finding that creative outlet.
Yeah.
So that one would be the moment above all moments for me. Would be like the first time that I ever cosplayed.
Okay.
And for the record, refresh our memories. What did you cosplay as?
I cosplayed as Lightning from Final Fantasy 13.
And where does that rank among the Final Fantasy games?
What do you mean like statistics wise, or are you talking about?
I imagine it's the 13th.
So popularity, there was a lot of
Well, knowing Final Fantasy is probably like the 26th.
It's actually at least the 14th or 15th.
Yeah.
Because you have at least X2, 10-2.
Yeah.
Okay, proceed.
10-2 is 12.
There were a lot of mixed feelings about 13 because it was rather linear compared to previous installments, and installments since then. It's still considered rather linear. I really enjoyed the characters specifically. I'm a sucker for cool character designs. That's why I love Square Enix so much. They always drop the hottest character designs. But I really enjoyed Lightning as an individual. I resonated a lot with her in some of the ways she felt about things. But as far as everyone else, it was kind of a mixed match. Like some people, 13, you either really like it or you really dislike it.
I would venture to say you could be comfortable saying Final Fantasy games are just generally good for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
All right. Not biased at all.
Not at all. No.
The tea's piping hot.
Okay.
Scalding, one would say.
So since we're on the topic of video games,
Mhm.
what is your favorite video game of all time?
Of all time?
Of all time.
Oh my. Besides, and this is stupid. I love The Sims. But
Which one?
the original, because
Thank
it was
you.
so
Okay.
chaotic.
Yeah.
It was so chaotic.
Wait. Why is it stupid?
Well, because to me, The Sims is a video game, okay, but it's a pastime. I get to play God, and that's why I like to control people's lives a little bit. Yes, they're the
Well,
puppets.
Okay.
But like my all-time favorite game, I would have to say, because of like the feeling that it gave me, would probably be the original Kingdom Hearts. Just because I was in 8th or 9th grade at the time that came out, and it was really interesting. I know. Just take a deep breath, Jason. But it was really interesting because that's whenever nerd culture kind of started to blossom a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's where like more people, because Disney characters, there were Disney characters in it also, so that had a lot of draw. But like, I had a friend, and him and I would go down the hallway singing Hiroku Utada songs, Simple and Clean and all that stuff. But that one, I just had like a really awesome feeling when I would boot that up.
Mm-hmm.
So that would probably be my favorite of all time.
Okay. Solid choice.
Thank
If you're
you.
telling the truth.
Thank you.
What console was it on?
PlayStation 2.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions right now, Josh? Agent Winter,
Agent? We're
Wow.
FBI agents now?
Wow.
investigator.
Brought in
What's
the big
detective?
guns.
I was gonna say, what's our jurisdiction here? What?
It's what it needs to be.
Okay. So
Wait.
what? Did he have one?
No.
Oh, I have.
You're out of line.
You're-
Get out of here.
I
Go
can't.
take a break.
I can't.
All right.
There's not enough room.
You need to cool off.
She rattled yet?
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep drinking this
Okay,
very
yeah.
clear water.
Yes.
All right. Not going? You got-
I did.
Do you have one?
I do.
Okay.
Okay. What? We're gonna have to talk about this later. Okay. So, what would you say is probably one of the most influential live-action science fiction movies that you've seen? Not necessarily your favorite, but maybe
my question, but it's fine.
Was it really?
Yeah, actually, it was.
All right. So Corey asked me to ask you this.
Wow. Influential. You guys are all staring at me.
This is an interrogation. Get used to it.
Let me think. I think one of the most influential science fiction movies would probably be The Terminator and the Terminator franchise as a whole.
For you?
For me, yes.
Okay.
Because that's one of, I enjoyed Star Trek growing up. I was never like hardcore deep dive into it or anything. I love Star Wars, but one of the first times like I remember really sitting down and watching a science fiction movie, it was The Terminator, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Just because I'm big on storytelling. Like my hobby, I write literally screenplays and stuff as a hobby. And so I really enjoy other people's stories and other people's worlds. And I really enjoyed that world.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, I mean, yeah, I had seen Star Wars and stuff like that. And I mean, Star Wars is Star Wars. So like it's very influential, but it didn't really, like, in my memory when I sit here and I think about it, that's the one that kind of comes to my brain is Terminator.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was a Saturday morning and I remember sitting there and like it was on TV and I sat and watched the whole thing.
Nice.
So
And how old were you at this point?
11,
You were a
maybe.
broken little person.
When was
Listen,
probably
I used to watch.
watching it,
I used to watch the
actually.
original It when I was like really young, and every time Pennywise would laugh, I would laugh. And my mom thought it was like the weirdest thing ever. And I was like, "Well, that's when you should have known."
I'm
That's terrifying. Okay, so Terminator as your most influential movie. What about your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie of all time. That's really hard. I don't really have a favorite movie of all time.
What?
I don't because I
Red flag. Red flag.
this is my thing, and I go into this with adaptations as well. Is I take every film or adaptation. I mean, there are some adaptations like Dragon Ball Evolution and Bebop and stuff where no, thank you. But I go into a lot of movies and adaptations with like a clean slate in the fact of it's its own thing, and I respect it for what it is, and I enjoy it for what it is. There are several movies that I can sit and like rewatch, like Star Wars. I can sit and rewatch that. I can sit and rewatch like certain Marvel movies, like the original Iron Man and stuff like that. There's not really a film that's like my film of all film because the ones that I have seen I really enjoy. If that makes sense.
Guys, we got her.
I'm sorry.
Guilty.
Roll credits, we're done. But no, I mean, and that just comes from like working in film and stuff too. I have a very different outlook on it. So
So you brought up Marvel movies. Who is your favorite superhero or comic book hero? In general, comic book character.
Rogue from X-Men.
Nice.
Yeah. I feel like she was I related to her in the sense that she was misunderstood a lot. And people, a lot of the times, prejudged her and had preconceived notions of her before they actually knew her. And she would shut down a lot. And I really resonated with that because, I mean, I experienced that a lot as a younger person and sometimes as an older person. So, I really enjoy her. Not to mention her design, like Savage Lands and like the different iterations are so gorgeous. So,
well, not only that, but mostly because she is also from the Southeast United States.
Yeah.
Right. I can see that being like the main connection.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
No, but I really like her character. So, and that's why I eventually cosplayed her because it was just, I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I think the biggest nerdy thing about you, in my opinion, from what I've observed, is your cosplaying.
Mm-hmm.
So what stood out to you about cosplaying that wanted you to get into it? That you went to... Did I say that right?
No, you cannot.
Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Why cosplay?
Yeah, why cosplay?
Why cosplay of like all of the different...
Why you cosplay?
Why do you do the cosplay?
Cosplay.
Why?
So
Why?
there's a two-part answer here.
Okay.
So the first part is growing up, we couldn't afford a lot of things like Halloween costumes. Halloween is my favorite holiday in the entire world. I'm Halloween year round. So when I was younger, my mom, we would make costumes. So making costumes was like, I don't know, I had really good memories attached to that. And so with that, whenever I figured out what cosplay was and I got into challenging myself to make those costumes, it kind of gave me that same feeling.
I just imagine like a 12-year-old you going, wait a second. You're telling me I could just make a costume. It doesn't have to be Halloween. I could just do it.
Like 12-year-old me would have been like, oh. Literally, that was like 20-year-old me when I was like, "Wah." But so it was a way for me to. I've always been a creative person. I've always been the person in my classes. My teachers would be like, "She's special," and I'd be like, "What kind?" But
And they'd say yes.
but so when I'm crafting a costume, I'm able to go to like this mind palace, as weird as that sounds, and like things just click for me. I have a really hard time with other facets, like with games. I have really bad anxiety and depression. So like with gaming, I can get really anxious, and with other things, I can get really depressed. And especially like when there was a stint there where I was really into comics, but with my depression, it was really hard for me to sit down and read because I just wanted to shut down.
Mm.
With cosplay, I kind of just turn something on in the background and I'm able to go to a different place because I'm making myself that character. And I'm getting to represent a character that I saw something of myself in, if that makes sense. And I really enjoy the challenge of cosplay. And I enjoy the gratification of once I get a costume finished, or once I buy a costume and I put it on, it's the gratification of looking at myself in the mirror and seeing it all together. It gives me a sense of self-worth and pride. So that's why all of these years, it's been, I don't know, 13 years now. That's why all of these years, even with like my 5-year hiatus, like I still kept costumes and stuff because I knew that I would be back. Because I feel most at home in a costume.
Yeah.
So that's why I have went that direction so hard all these years.
Okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
I'm satisfied.
Okay. Let's do some very quick lightning round things. So, this is actually a question that we typically ask of the non-cosplayers, but you are a cosplayer, so I'm just going to ask anyway. What is your dream cosplay? So, and for you, what's one you haven't done yet that you want to do?
Wing Zero Gundam
She had badges just like that.
Okay.
on stilts. Mobile
Cool.
wings.
That'd be really cool. Okay.
Right, next year. Yeah.
Do you know how to walk on stilts?
Do I what?
Do you know how to walk on stilts?
Oh, Lord, no. I would have to learn.
Okay. When you're gaming, what's your snack and beverage of choice?
There you go. Put that
Dr.
in.
Pepper and Reese Cup.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Wait. Reese cup?
Oh, a bag.
There we go.
All right. Well, I think we can safely say, Britt, you are nerd. You're free to go back to cosplaying. I don't know. Back to the con.
Honestly, I'm like so tired of cosplaying today. No. Getting those contacts out was.
Yes, we are recording this during the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo weekend, which is why Britt's in town. So we were at the expo all weekend interviewing a bunch of cosplayers. We were on our feet all day, and Britt was a troop coming here and doing this interview tonight.
Of course. I gotta hang with my crew.
Troop. No, she was a troop. That would be like multiple people.
Yeah.
A trooper is one person in a troop.
She was
We don't
a real
like French
champ.
words.
Well, it depends on which one of my multiple personalities that
Oh,
we're talking about.
Fair enough. Fair
Just
enough.
kidding. I'm just kidding. No, actually, this was really fun.
No, it's the truth in everything.
So,
Is there anything, any piece you want to speak to wrap this up? Anything we haven't touched on?
I don't think so, really.
Well, all right.
Okay.
Next case.
I was going to do the dum-dum.
Dumb.
Go subscribe. YouTube.com/@EatSleepNerd on YouTube, obviously. Click some likes. Leave some comments. Let Britt know what you liked about her stories.
YouTube.com.
Or disliked, it's fine.
Eat
Or
Sleep
disliked.
Nerd.
And what questions do you think we should be asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need some, give us some good ideas.
I
We
would-
still have Corey and Josh to talk.
Yeah, and we could always do like
Eatsleepnerd.com.
round twos.
Yeah.
.com.
Oh, you're fine getting grilled again.
Yeah.
YouTube /
You guys do not intimidate me, so it's fine.
Just wait.
Sleep
Okay.
Nerd.
We were all playing good golf today.
Oh, okay, my bad.
All right. Take it easy, people.